目前来讲，我就是最大的想达到的目的，就是别人在买画的时候，或者不见我的人的情况下，看见这个画了，说这个画值多少钱，这是我最想达到的这种结果。
Ren Yonghong is originally from a village near Shangqiu in Henan province. A few years ago, he locked himself out and whilst trying to climb in through the window, fell several stories, leaving himself paralysed from the chest down. Sadly, since his injury was self-inflicted and he had no insurance, he couldn't get compensation. He could have tried to get some form of lodging back in his hometown though, but instead he has chosen this life on the streets in Beijing.
就只能说找一个出路，找一个就是说能自己给自己找一个就是说活下去的理由吧。你要不然你比如说你残疾人，你要说比如说假如你去直接把你给送到敬老院，然后就国家政府管着你吃，管着你吃，或者从我自己就是说思想上，我不大容易接受这种方式，好像就是你体现不了自己的就是说那个，好像说大一点就好像人生价值吧，体现不了。就是我只想做一个试验，看能不能就在这种比较相对来讲比较不好的环境下，这样条件下，能不能做出一番成绩来，让其他人去看一下，或者去满足自己的虚荣心。
Mr. Ren's home for the past 2.5 years has been this improvised cart. It's a world away from the sort of life the students at the nearby Tsinghua and Peking universities can expect to enjoy. That said, in his own way, Mr. Ren has managed to secure one or two creature comforts. He uses the public electricity pylons to charge his cart and phone. He has made friends with the recycling man, so he gets to read the day's papers. And he treats himself to a tasty, fresh, traditional Chinese breakfast each morning.
哎，师傅，咱们一块儿吃早餐怎么样？
His physical condition prevents him from sitting in a wheelchair or in a car. It effectively keeps him within this square kilometre of Beijing's Wudao-Kou area. But a story, he tells me, makes me wonder if the barriers are more social. In October, he heard about an art event he wanted to attend. He phoned up and reserved a place. To ensure he got there on time, he set off at 3 a.m, travelling over 50 kilometres on his cart. But when he eventually arrived, the organisers refused to let him in.
残疾人嘛，目前在中国这个待遇方面，包括还是有点和正常人没法比，有些人还是有点歧视，这个你不可否认的这个。
So where does this discrimination come from? Zhou Haibin, a disability rights campaigner, offered several interesting points.
Before 1978, there is a saying to persons with disability in Chinese, 残废. It means that impaired and wasted. So it's a waste kind of person. So it is because of the mindset that if you have a person with disability, in your last generation you have done something bad.
But Ren Yonghong had other ideas. He was determined to quit his home village and pursue his dream of becoming an artist. However, in the big city, he has fallen victim to the hukou system. With his village residence permit, he can't access the medical care he needs in Beijing. Also, the cost of living is much higher. He gets 70 yuan a month in benefits from his village government, but this is only enough to pay for food for a few days here, even with the help of kind-hearted folk at the market, which means that, like many other disabled people in China's big cities, he has to beg to get by.
哎，帮我打点水呗。好，谢谢啊。
我有的时候我是想掏钱给他们，但是这个地铁就广播啊，抵制乞讨、卖艺等行为，所以这个时候呢，我就觉得我要是给他了，就助长他了。我们
Qiu Yue works at the China Disabled Persons Federation, or CDPF. It is a government-funded organisation whose remit is to defend the interests of the disabled. What advice do they have for people like Ren Shifu?
咱们不是没有同情心，就是说呢，要让他回到当地去，都有政策，都会帮助的。
How do China's disability rights laws and policies compare with other countries? Charles Wharton, a graduate of Harvard Law School and a specialist in disability rights law, is quite positive.
China has actually been a world leader in some ways in terms of signing and ratifying the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which has been a challenge politically in America. China also has the law on the protection of people with disabilities dating back to 2008 and has made incredible progress from a historical perspective, and as a developing country has made an incredible progress in developing both employment opportunities and rights protection for people with disabilities in society.
However, the problem is not the policy itself, but its implementation, and this is especially the case in the countryside. "75% of China's disabled live in the countryside. More than 10 million of them have trouble obtaining adequate food and clothing. Wang Yun belongs to both groups. She has suffered from rheumatoid arthritis since she was a kid. Her parents married her off young to a man 30 years her senior. She had been living with her husband. But earlier this year, her husband left and divorced her. She was forced to leave the house and come back to live with her parents. For her, the worst aspect of living in the countryside is the poor access to medical care. Wang Yun tells me that with the right treatment, she could complete a near full recovery. For the first time in 20 years, she'd actually be able to walk. The problem is the cost. 400,000 yuan is way beyond this humble family's means. She dreams of being cured, but there's something she wants even more. She's heard that the CDPF can provide funds for housing for people like her, but nothing has been forthcoming. But an equally, if not more pressing problem is approaching. Her daughter and full-time carer is now old enough to work. After Chinese New Year, she will leave to find a job in one of China's coastal cities.
他身体这么差不行，所以他就打算多挣点钱给他看病。先是这样嘛。
Wang Yun's father, like all farmers in China, doesn't get a pension. He's at a loss as to what to do.
我已经70多了，假如说我一死，这个人谁照顾都没办法了。我的说法，我的想法，现在我也是很为难的，我也没有办法。说实话，真的，你想这回来都住这个房子，冬季还冷。 这多年来，13岁带着他这个风湿病呢，一直给我的钱都花空了，花的我都一会儿连盐吃都没得，还得给他看病。
Like Wang Yun, Ren Shifu has children. He has a son and a daughter, both middle school age.
那你上次见他们是什么时候？
那时候这好多年了，因为我现在这身体状况这样，我也不想见，不想让他。 看到我这现在的情况，就感到挺伤心的，然后就再说去打破他现在生活很平静的那种生活。
Both Ren and Wang struck me as being alienated from society. Is there any way of connecting people like them to a wider community? Might technology be able to help? I went to Zhengzhou, Hennan's provincial capital, to find out about a scheme Wang Yun has recently got wind of.
In early 2012, a man from Henan set up an online chat group called the Henan Disability Network. It started off very small indeed, but since then it's greatly expanded and done some great work. The trouble is, the funds for this network are running out. They urgently need a more financially sustainable solution. I've been told a solution to that is on display here today.
The idea is to sell advertising space on these specially modified boards. Fixed to these wheelchairs, they're ridden around the city all day.
联盟公益广告中心今天在此就正式开始运营。
The man behind this initiative is Yuan Haijun. His organisation has over 1,000 members and has reached over 20,000 disabled people. It works to promote the rights of the disabled. They need this because, and he speaks from personal experience here, they can suffer from very low self-esteem.
作为一个普通的残疾人，在没有受到外界帮助以及天天在家里那种出不来门的那种状态，自我封闭了以后，因为他们给家庭带来了负担，给社会可能带不来什么利益，所以说他们就在自己的心理上就有一种就生不如死的感觉。
He himself has managed to escape from the depression thanks to the support of his friends and family, especially his wife. Now he wants to give back some of the kindness he's received. Yuan wants to register his organisation as an official charity. He's prepared to provide all the necessary financial documentation. The provincial authorities have given him approval, but crucially the CDPF has not, telling him there's no precedent for this. There are over 85 million disabled in China. They want to be included, and there have been some great improvements, but many are still fighting against traditional views.
Before 1978, there is a saying to persons with disability in Chinese, 残废.
给自己找一个就是说活下去的理由吧。
我自己就有一个家，
医疗呀、养老都解决。
Is there any hope for them? Find out in this episode of China Insight. What measures are in place to provide the disabled with jobs? Sheltered employment for the disabled at subsidised farms or factories is one option for local governments.
This company here is one of China's. I'm now going to go in and have a look.
36% of this steel factory department's 227 employees are disabled. Policies vary by region. Here in Xinjiang, Henan, in return for doing this, the local government has granted the company a 3-year tax exemption, as well as a number of other longer-term subsidies. However, some campaigners are strongly opposed to sheltered employment. They say that the sheltered nature of these companies runs counter to the principle of inclusiveness. Yet the employees we spoke to weren't complaining, like Zhu Xiaojing here. She's 25 and has a 5-year-old child to feed. She used to be confined to her home, reliant on her husband's income, but now she's contributing to her family and society.
你觉得在这边工作怎么样？
我感觉很好，最起码自己的劳动成果，每个月的工资也很可靠。在这也有免费住宿、吃饭都是免费的，工作环境也很好。
Feng Zhiming is one of the few people in the factory with a university education. I asked him why he chose to come here over a job in the city.
当时就业人很多嘛，然后本来就比较难以就业，然后残疾人的话选择就不多了，然后就过来。
Over 65% of working-age persons with disabilities in China are in employment, according to the CDPF. But statistics can be deceptive. For example, in rural areas, simply owning land can be enough to be counted as employed. In urban areas, discrimination is still prevalent. Feng Zhiming offered the following suggestions.
要提供一个公平的一个竞争渠道，大家都公平的去竞争，然后去找工作。
这样，另一方面就是在政策上对这些企业、非经营企业进行倾斜，然后让它更有意向去做这个工作吧，然后让更多的残疾人去就业，然后其他像什么医疗呀、养老都解决了，就首先还是要解决就业的问题。
But how willing are business leaders to support such initiatives? Company boss Xu Yueqing told us how he viewed his disabled employees.
说他们一旦对这个工作认可以后，他们工作起来就有一股韧性，就能一个任务接到以后，一个订单接到以后，包括他们应该负责完成的工作，他都会毫不犹豫，这个100%的会尽力去完成。如果单纯从这个经济效益来说的话，那肯定是这个对企业来是一种负担，因为这个他们自身这些原因，有大多数不能从事一些体力就是一些工作量非常大的一些的工作，我觉得更多的是一种社会责任吧。
Another method of getting the disabled into work is through a quota system. Quota systems are in place in many countries, but vary in their type. In China, the quota requires companies to ensure that 1.5% of their employees are disabled. If they fail to do this, they will face a fine. But in China, as in other developing countries, poor regulation can lead to abuse of the system.
For some companies, even, they just ran the certificate for persons with disabilities. This quota gives people a message that these persons with disabilities should be helped, or they should be give some. It's kind of a charity. It's still that make people like a burden for the company. You have to do this 1.5%.
Corporate social responsibility, or CSR, offers potential employers an alternative, more carrot-based approach. It's a subject more than 200 experts on disability have gathered here today to discuss. Let's imagine I'm an employer keen to help the disabled but afraid of the risks.
Why should I employ a disabled person at my company?
First of all, it's been proven through research and through experience in a number of other countries that persons with disabilities tend to be loyal employees with lower turnover rates, with productivity levels at the same and sometimes higher level than other employees. And those make an excellent business case for hiring persons with disabilities.
CSR is a growing trend in China, but for it to break into the mainstream in this sector, something will need to be done about the huge educational disparities. Dr. Alessandra Aresu is the Director of Operations in China at one of the world's largest disabled charities, Handicap International. She says the situation is especially serious where the majority of the disabled are, in the countryside.
The level of illiteracy in the country for girls and people with disabilities is the following: 29% for boys and 61% for girls.
This helps to explain why the employment rate for disabled women is even lower than for men. But why is it so hard for them to get an education?
Women with disabilities suffer from what we call the double discrimination of being women and being a person with disability.
Ren Shifu has encountered his own education barrier. He's learnt what he can about painting from a few videos and books, but more than anything, he would love to have a teacher.
刚开始去找个老师，因为身体不方便，也没有人愿意教，我还挺失望的。好像曾经听一个笑话，说一个老外，然后就是他吃这个汤圆，他很纳闷这个汤圆是怎么把这个馅儿给包到里面的。你这煮熟了以后，你看不出来它跟饺子不一样，那饺子它有捏在那边儿，然后你这汤圆你怎么都看不出来。其实如果你要知道的话，他怎么做的，就差这一层，就说你理解不了，没人告诉你就不知道。
We wanted to see if we could help. I'd heard that a university nearby runs an art course in the afternoons for retirees. Why couldn't Ren Shifu join them?
and I'm going to phone them up now and see if I can help and try and get him a place on this course. 好，谢谢。再见。
说句实在话，因为残疾人他每个人多多少少在心理上，可能他有一个自卑，都会有这种情况，但是和别人相比，都有这种自卑，但是他也就是说也非常就是说，假如说可以说给他一个机会，他都想就是说做的，甚至比昨天做的更好一点。
对自己有时他的认识呢又不是很客观，有的时候就是过低的估计自己的能力，像这个方面呢，我们都需要对他进行心理方面的支持，来促进他的就业。我举一个例子，像深圳有一个大学本科毕业的，但他在找工作的时候，一到面试的环节就不过关。其实实际上他就是很自卑，他的技能没问题。这个深圳的心理咨询师给他进行指导以后呢，他就是到上海的一个跨国企业成功就业了。
Clearly, the CDPF does some valuable work for millions of disabled people in China. Yet some of the country's disabled are critical of the organisation. Are their complaints justified?
Actually, because of this kind of separation of power, the CDPF, they are taking care of all this kind of functions. So if we go to the Department of Labor, Ministry of Labor, or Ministry of Finance, advocate with them that how to promote persons' rights for persons with disability, or they will say, okay, it's not our responsibility to do that. You can go to CDPF. It's their responsibility. But actually, CDPF is a semi-government organization. They don't have the full government power to make policies, legislations, or making education policy, making employment policy. They still go back to the Ministry of Labor or Ministry of Education.
Peer-to-peer support groups or NGOs, if allowed to flourish, could step in where state bodies are failing and come up with some innovative solutions. Disability rights NGO 1+1 suggests that some simple changes to social habits could have a big impact.
I think it needs to change the people's attitude. Like we need to let the disabled people and the non-disabled people to mingle together more, because when I go to many people and I asked whether you have met disabled people before, they said no.
There are over 85 million disabled in China. They want to be included, and there have been some great improvements, but many are still fighting against traditional views.
Before 1978, there is a saying to persons with disability in Chinese, 残废。
给自己找一个就是说活下去的理由吧。
我自己就有一个家。
医疗呀、养老都解决。
Is there any hope for them? Find out in this episode of China Insight. We finally found a teacher willing to teach Ren Shifu, albeit only for a trial class. In the car on the way there, Ren Shifu tells me he can't put into words how much this means to him. But will it meet his expectations, and more importantly, will he be able to do enough to persuade the teacher to adopt him as a long-term student?
介绍一下，任师傅，这是王老师。
你好，你好，
任师傅，
你好。
画的这个是简单的，就简单的画了一个。
总体上不错呀，气象不错的，挺好的。这是象征牡丹，这画画多精神呀，欣欣向荣的。绕来这就是侧面，这个正面，车这个非常一个和。中国 国文化就是这样。
Mr. Wang very kindly offered to give Ren Shifu this trial lesson today, but what we're all really dying to know is, will he be happy to accept him as his student long term? 所以王老师以后你会愿意就是比较长期的教咱们任师傅画画的吗？
可以啊，他非常感动我。我能给他的只仅仅是所谓艺术绘画专业方面。作为一个人，一个强者，我应该向他学习。这只是送给你啊，你回家没事练习用的。啊，这你的画要好好保存了，然后你再画了，跟这张画再对照一下，哎，它有什么不同，也就它有了不同，也就是说你进步了。
我现在这种年龄，就是说社会的阅历，包括什么经验，可能对这个领悟能力比他们要稍微好一点，再加上我有点基础，就是说过一段时间一看一下，让他批改一下作业的，然后就拿来看一下，这样就可以了。